In a world where we're constantly told to do more, be more, and achieve more, it's easy to feel overwhelmed. We chase after validation. We measure our worth by accomplishments. And we often forget what truly matters. But what if I told you that the path to becoming a better version of yourself doesn't lie in accumulating more wealth, fame, or external approval? What if I told you that the secret to lasting happiness and peace lies within your own mind and heart? Today, we are going to explore 12 powerful habits from Buddhist teachings that will help you transform your life from the inside out. These aren't habits that promise quick fixes or instant success. They're about cultivating inner peace, wisdom, and strength. They're about living authentically, with clarity and purpose, instead of constantly chasing after distractions. If you're tired of feeling stuck, if you're ready to stop seeking validation from others and want to start building true inner peace, then this video is for you. Whether you're new to Buddhism or have been on this path for a while, these transformative habits can help you reconnect with yourself and life in a deeper way. 1. Focusing on what's in your control. In Buddhism, one of the most empowering practices is learning to focus on what we can control and letting go of what we cannot. This teaching is essential because much of the suffering we experience comes from our attachment to things beyond our influence. Suffering arises from resisting the natural flow of life, says the Buddha. We often waste our energy worrying about the actions of others, the outcomes of situations, or the course of events that are completely out of our hands. This constant striving to control the uncontrollable leads to stress, anxiety, and frustration. But when we turn our attention to what we can control, our thoughts, emotions, and actions, we reclaim our power and bring peace into our hearts. For example, you can't control how others treat you or how the world reacts to your decisions, but you can control how you respond when someone insults you. Instead of letting that insult dictate your emotions, you can choose to remain calm and respond with understanding or not respond at all. This simple shift in perspective frees you from the control that other people's words have over you. In daily life, we often find ourselves stressed or upset because of things outside our control, whether it's work deadlines, societal expectations, or even the weather. But when we focus on what we can control, our responses, our actions, and how we choose to interpret situations, we create a sense of calm and clarity. Think of it like the story of the monk who was asked by a villager, "Why do you remain so calm despite everything happening around you?" The monk simply smiled and said, "The river doesn't fight the rocks. It flows around them. I too choose to flow with life." By practicing this habit, we free ourselves from unnecessary stress. We stop resisting life's flow and instead start embracing it with peace and clarity. Focusing only on what's in our control enables us to make better decisions, avoid emotional overwhelm, and ultimately, live with greater resilience and emotional strength. By practicing this Buddhist habit, we not only feel more at ease, but we also develop the inner fortitude to respond wisely to any situation that comes our way. It's not about avoiding challenges, but about facing them with clarity and understanding. Would you like me to continue with the next habit or adjust anything in this section? 2. Not caring what others think. One of the most liberating lessons in Buddhism is learning to stop caring about what others think of you. It's a lesson that seems so simple, yet it's something most of us struggle with on a daily basis. We live in a world where we constantly seek validation from others, whether it's through likes on social media, praise at work, or even approval in our personal relationships. Buddha's teachings remind us that the desire for external approval is a source of suffering. When we rely on others' opinions to determine our worth, We become slaves to their judgments. And our happiness becomes fragile and dependent on external factors. Consider this: how many times have you worried about how others might perceive you? Whether it's the clothes you wear, the things you post on social media, or even how you speak in front of a group. We often tailor our actions to fit others' expectations. But in doing so, we lose sight of who we truly are and what we truly want. We become like chameleons, changing to fit into every new environment, but never fully rooted in our own truth. Buddhism teaches us to let go of the need for validation and to embrace the freedom that comes with self-acceptance. When you stop caring about what others think, you begin to live authentically, guided by your own principles, your own values, and your own wisdom. But this doesn't mean you should be indifferent to others' opinions or act recklessly. It means you stop allowing their opinions to dictate how you feel about yourself. You recognize that every person has their own biases, perspectives, and experiences that shape their views. Their opinions are not a reflection of your worth or your truth. Think of the story of the great Zen master, Hakuin. He lived in a small village, and one day a rumor spread that he had gotten a young woman pregnant. The villagers criticized him, but Hakuin remained silent. Years later, the woman came forward, admitting that she had lied about him. The villagers, now ashamed, asked Hakuin how he felt. He simply replied, "Is that so?" He had not allowed their judgment to disturb his peace. This story reminds us that other people's opinions are fleeting and often not grounded in truth. When we stop seeking approval, we reclaim our inner peace and begin to live with greater authenticity. By doing so, we tap into an unshakable sense of self-worth that doesn't depend on anyone else's approval. In Buddhism, we learn to detach from the need for external validation and to trust in the intrinsic value of our own being. You are enough as you are, and nothing needs to be added to that. By letting go of the need to please others, we can live more freely, more honestly, and more peacefully. This practice is not about disregarding others, but about honoring ourselves and trusting that our worth comes from within. Would you like to move on to the next habit? Or would you like to refine this section further? 3. Building mental strength. In Buddhism, mental strength is not about ignoring or suppressing your emotions, but rather about developing the resilience and wisdom to face life's challenges with composure and clarity. Mental strength is about understanding that life is full of ups and downs. And although we cannot avoid hardship, we can choose how we respond to it. We all face difficulties in life, whether it's personal loss, financial struggles, or emotional challenges. But how we respond to these situations makes all the difference. Buddhism teaches us that the key is not to eliminate or run away from difficult emotions, but to develop the capacity to remain centered in the face of them. Mental strength is about developing the resilience to weather storms without losing our inner peace. For example, imagine you're facing a difficult situation at work. Perhaps you receive critical feedback from a colleague or your boss. Naturally, you may feel defensive, frustrated, or discouraged. But rather than immediately reacting to these feelings, Buddhist wisdom encourages you to pause and observe your emotions. Ask yourself, what is this emotion trying to teach me? How can I respond with wisdom and compassion, rather than reacting impulsively? By practicing mindfulness, you create space between your emotions and your actions. Instead of being carried away by anger or frustration, you can pause, breathe, and respond with a clear mind. This allows you to make decisions that are grounded in your deeper values rather than driven by reactive emotions. Think of the story of the Buddha when he was tested by Mara, the demon of temptation. Mara tried to distract him with fear, doubt, and desire. But the Buddha remained unmoved, sitting in deep meditation, unshaken by Mara's attacks. He had cultivated such mental strength that no external force could disturb his peace. This example teaches us that mental strength is built through practice, through the regular cultivation of mindfulness, awareness, and emotional intelligence. By observing our thoughts and feelings without judgment, we can begin to navigate life's challenges with a sense of inner stability. Another example can be seen in the practice of the warrior monks in Japan. These monks train their minds just as much as their bodies, learning to face extreme physical and mental challenges without losing their sense of calm and purpose. Their practice teaches us that mental strength is not about avoiding hardship, but about embracing it with a clear and focused mind. By building mental strength, we can face life's storms without being swept away by them. This resilience is key to maintaining a sense of peace in a world that often feels chaotic. The stronger your mind becomes, the easier it is to maintain balance, even in the most difficult circumstances. In Buddhism, we learn that we cannot control the circumstances of life, but we can always control how we respond. By strengthening our minds through mindfulness and resilience, we become better equipped to navigate the inevitable challenges that life presents. With wisdom, grace, and clarity. Would you like to continue with the next habit? Or would you like any adjustments to this section? 4. Embracing obstacles as opportunities. In Buddhism, obstacles are not seen as things to avoid or fear. They are seen as opportunities for growth. Every challenge we encounter in life has the potential to teach us something valuable, whether it's patience, wisdom, or self-reflection. Instead of viewing difficulties as roadblocks, Buddhist teachings encourage us to embrace them as integral parts of our spiritual journey. Life is full of obstacles, whether it's a financial setback, a personal failure, or an unexpected health issue. We all face difficulties, but instead of seeing these obstacles as things that stand in our way, we can reframe them as stepping stones on our path to enlightenment. The key is to change our perspective. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" we can ask, "What can I learn from this? What is this obstacle teaching me about myself, my values, and my inner strength?" Think about the story of the great Zen master, Ikkyu. He was once traveling with his disciples when they came across a river that was too dangerous to cross. While everyone else was fearful, Ikkyu said, "This river is not a problem, it is an opportunity." He then proceeded to meditate by the riverbank, finding peace and insight in the face of danger. For Ikkyu, the obstacle was not something to avoid, but an opportunity to cultivate his inner calm and wisdom. This mindset shift can be transformative. When you face an obstacle, rather than resisting it or wishing it away, you can embrace it. Every challenge is an opportunity to deepen your understanding of yourself and the world around you. Obstacles teach us important lessons about patience, resilience, and the impermanence of life. For example, if you're struggling in a relationship, you might see it as an opportunity to practice compassion and understanding. If you're facing financial difficulties, you might use it as an opportunity to practice generosity and gratitude for what you already have. Every obstacle is a chance to strengthen a particular aspect of your character and practice the Buddhist principles of mindfulness, compassion, and wisdom. In Buddhism, there's a saying, "The obstacle is the way." This means that what appears to be an obstacle is actually the path itself, the very thing that will lead to your growth and liberation. Another example is the story of the Buddha's own enlightenment. His journey to awakening was filled with obstacles, from physical deprivation to mental distractions. But each obstacle he faced was an opportunity to deepen his understanding and resolve. It was through overcoming these challenges that he was able to attain enlightenment. By embracing obstacles as opportunities, we stop viewing them as setbacks and start seeing them as moments to strengthen our character, cultivate wisdom, and deepen our practice. Life's challenges are not something to dread, they are gifts that allow us to evolve and grow into the best version of ourselves. In summary, obstacles are not the enemy, they are the teachers that guide us toward greater wisdom and compassion. By embracing them with an open heart, we can transform life's difficulties into powerful opportunities for growth. Would you like to continue to the next habit? Or would you like to make any edits or adjustments to this section? 5. Building self-discipline. Self-discipline is one of the cornerstones of Buddhist practice, as it enables us to live in alignment with our highest values. It's easy to get distracted by the temptations and chaos of the world. But self-discipline empowers us to stay focused on our spiritual journey and our personal growth. In Buddhism, self-discipline is about creating habits that support our well-being and keep us aligned with our true nature. In today's world, distractions are everywhere. From the constant pull of social media to the endless pursuit of material success, it can be hard to stay focused on what truly matters. However, in Buddhist teachings, self-discipline is not about strict rules or denial of pleasure, it's about cultivating habits that support our highest purpose, inner peace, wisdom, and compassion. To build self-discipline, it's essential to begin with small, manageable steps. You don't need to make drastic changes overnight. Instead, focus on creating a daily practice that helps you stay grounded and aligned with your values. The Buddha's teachings often emphasize moderation, suggesting that we avoid extremes and instead seek a balanced approach to life. For example, you might start by committing to a short daily meditation practice. This simple habit can gradually train your mind to focus and develop the inner strength needed to resist distractions. Or perhaps you commit to refraining from negative self-talk, recognizing that our thoughts shape our reality. These small changes may seem insignificant at first, but over time, they build up, creating a foundation of discipline that supports your growth. One powerful way to practice self-discipline in Buddhism is through following ethical guidelines like the 5 precepts, which encourage us to live with kindness, mindfulness, and wisdom. These precepts help us align our actions with our deepest values and create a life of peace and integrity. For example, the precept of refraining from lying helps us cultivate honesty, which is key to developing trust and harmony in our relationships. By practicing honesty, we can create a life where our words and actions are in alignment, reducing inner conflict and fostering a sense of peace. Another important aspect of self-discipline is the practice of sila, or ethical conduct. Sila involves living in accordance with ethical values and cultivating moral integrity. This discipline is not about following external rules, but about living with awareness and intention, guided by wisdom and compassion. Think of the example of a monk who wakes up early every morning to meditate. Regardless of the weather or his emotions, his daily discipline allows him to cultivate clarity and inner peace, enabling him to approach each day with mindfulness and purpose. This kind of discipline is not forced, it is a natural result of his dedication to his spiritual practice. In the story of the Buddha's own journey to enlightenment, his practice of self-discipline was crucial. He followed a strict regimen of meditation, mindfulness, and self-control to overcome the distractions of the mind and ultimately attain the state of Buddhahood. His example shows us that self-discipline is not about rigid control, but about creating a structure for our practice that allows us to connect with our deepest truths. By practicing self-discipline, we create the space and clarity needed to cultivate the other habits that lead to a better version of ourselves. When we are disciplined, we are better able to resist the distractions that pull us away from our path and stay focused on what is truly important. In conclusion, self-discipline is a key habit in the Buddhist path. It's not about punishing ourselves or following rigid rules, but about creating small, consistent practices that align with our highest values and bring us closer to inner peace and wisdom. Would you like to move on to the next habit? Or is there anything you'd like to modify in this section? 6. Live simply. In Buddhism, simplicity is not about living with nothing or depriving yourself. It's about eliminating what is unnecessary and creating space for what truly matters in life. In a world filled with distractions, consumerism, and the constant pursuit of validation, simplicity is a radical return to the essence of who we truly are. Living simply involves two key aspects: physical simplicity and mental simplicity. These aspects are interconnected, as physical clutter often mirrors mental clutter. When we simplify both our physical surroundings and our thoughts, we open up space for mindfulness, peace, and clarity. Let's start with physical simplicity. In today's society, we are constantly surrounded by consumerism, new gadgets, fashionable clothes, and the desire to keep up with others. However, the Buddha taught that attachment to material possessions only leads to suffering. It is not the possession of things that creates happiness, but our attachment to them. By simplifying our physical environment, we free ourselves from the need to accumulate more and more, and we make room for deeper connections and more meaningful experiences. For example, you might begin by decluttering your home. Take a look around and ask yourself, what truly serves me? What do I need? This doesn't mean getting rid of everything, but rather creating a space that supports your mental and spiritual well-being. You might start by letting go of items that no longer bring joy or serve a purpose in your life. The act of simplifying your physical space can be incredibly freeing, allowing you to focus on what really matters. Simplicity also applies to your thoughts. Just as our homes can become cluttered with unnecessary possessions, our minds are often cluttered with worries, desires, and distractions. Buddhism teaches that much of our suffering arises from our attachment to our thoughts, particularly those driven by greed, envy, or fear. When we become attached to our thoughts, we lose touch with the present moment and the clarity that comes with it. To live simply in the mental realm, it's important to observe your thoughts without judgment. Through mindfulness and meditation, you learn to notice when your mind is racing or becoming overwhelmed with unnecessary thoughts. You can gently guide your mind back to the present moment, focusing on the breath or simply being aware of your surroundings. By practicing mindfulness, you create space in your mind for peace, gratitude, and acceptance. An example of this might be someone who feels overwhelmed by the constant bombardment of social media, news, or societal expectations. By consciously choosing to disconnect and simplify their mental intake, they can regain their sense of clarity and focus. This practice helps them stay grounded and better able to respond to life's challenges without being overwhelmed by external noise. Living simply also means not constantly striving for the next big thing, whether that's a new job, a new car, or the latest gadget. It's about learning to be content with what you have in the present moment. As the Buddha taught, desire is the root of suffering. When we stop attaching our happiness to external things, we begin to experience life in a purer, more fulfilling way. One of the greatest lessons in living simply is the ability to savor the present moment. When we simplify our lives, we stop rushing from one thing to the next. Instead, we begin to appreciate the small, everyday moments, like a walk in nature, a meal shared with loved ones, or a quiet moment of reflection. These are the moments that bring true joy, and they cannot be bought or achieved through external success. Let's reflect on the story of the Buddha. After years of living in luxury as a prince, he renounced everything and embraced a simple life of meditation and spiritual practice. This act of renunciation wasn't about denying himself pleasure, but about eliminating distractions and attachments that were preventing him from seeing the truth of life. In his simplicity, the Buddha found profound peace and wisdom, demonstrating that true fulfillment doesn't come from accumulating more, but from letting go and being fully present. In conclusion, living simply is a powerful habit that allows us to free ourselves from the distractions of the material world. It helps us reconnect with what truly matters, deepening our sense of peace and mindfulness. By simplifying both our physical surroundings and our thoughts, we create space for gratitude, clarity, and true happiness. 7. Giving without expectation. In Buddhism, true generosity is not about giving to receive or seeking recognition. It's about giving selflessly, with no expectation of return, and cultivating a mindset of abundance rather than scarcity. By practicing giving without expectation, we release attachment to outcomes and free ourselves from the grasp of greed. Generosity is a cornerstone of Buddhist practice, and it goes far beyond material giving. It involves giving your time, attention, kindness, and love without expecting anything in return. The Buddha emphasized that the act of giving should not be tainted by attachment to the result or any hope of recognition. True generosity arises from a place of compassion and a desire to help others, not from a desire to gain or receive something back. One powerful example of this is the concept of DNA, which is the practice of giving in Buddhism. This practice can take many forms, offering food, clothes, or financial support to those in need, but also offering one's time, skills, or even emotional support. In Buddhist communities, DNA is considered a form of spiritual practice, a way of purifying the mind and cultivating compassion. Consider the example of a person who volunteers their time to help others in need. They may spend hours helping at a food bank, tutoring children, or assisting the elderly. They do this not because they expect to be praised or recognized, but because they feel a deep sense of compassion for others. In this way, the act of giving is a practice of love and kindness, and it nurtures both the giver and the recipient. When we give with a sense of expectation, we remain attached to the outcome. But when we give selflessly, we release that attachment and experience the joy of simply helping others. Buddhism teaches that when we give without expectation, we shift from a mindset of scarcity to one of abundance. The idea of scarcity suggests that there is a limited amount of good in the world, and that if we give, we may not have enough left for ourselves. In contrast, the mindset of abundance recognizes that the more we give, the more we create a flow of positive energy in the world, which inevitably returns to us in ways we might not expect. This flow of generosity creates a sense of interconnectedness and community. And the more we give, the more we experience peace and joy in return. An example of this mindset in action could be seen in a Buddhist monastery where monks share whatever they have, whether it be food, wisdom, or time, without expecting anything in return. Their giving is an expression of their understanding of the impermanence of all things nothing lasts forever. And what we possess is ultimately not ours to keep. By practicing generosity in this way, they let go of attachment to material possessions and cultivate a heart of compassion. Generosity also helps to cultivate a sense of interconnectedness with all beings. When you give without expectation, you recognize that you and others are not separate. We are all connected through the same human experience. Every act of kindness, no matter how small, contributes to the collective well-being of humanity. The more we give, the more we realize that giving is not just about the recipient, it is also about the giver, who benefits from the emotional and spiritual rewards that come from selflessness. Let's reflect on a story from Buddhist tradition that exemplifies the power of giving without expectation. The story of the Buddha and the mustard seed is a well-known parable. A woman named Kisa Gotami, grieving the death of her child, sought the Buddha's help. He told her that he could help, but only if she could bring him a mustard seed from a household that had never experienced death. She went from house to house, but no one could offer her a mustard seed because everyone had experienced loss. In that moment, Kisa Gotami realized that death is an inevitable part of life, and her grief was shared by all beings. Through this realization, she began to let go of her attachment to her child and embrace the impermanence of life. In a sense, her suffering was alleviated not by receiving something in return, but by her ability to give her grief and accept the universal experience of loss. Similarly, when we give without expectation, we let go of our attachment to outcomes and embrace the present moment, recognizing that everything is impermanent. This practice of selfless giving helps us overcome our own suffering and cultivates compassion for others. In conclusion, giving without expectation is a transformative habit that frees us from attachment to outcomes and helps us cultivate a mindset of abundance. It nurtures our connection with others, builds compassion, and fosters a sense of inner peace. Whether through material goods, time, or love, when we give selflessly, we open our hearts and experience a deeper sense of joy and fulfillment. Reflection: generosity without expectation is not just about giving material things, but also about offering your heart, your time, and your presence. It is through these acts of giving that we connect with the essence of our shared humanity, and in doing so, we transform both our own lives and the lives of others. 8. Release negative thoughts. In Buddhism, it is taught that our thoughts are powerful. They shape our perception of the world and directly affect our experiences. Negative thoughts, whether subtle or intense, have the power to limit our growth and peace of mind. Through mindfulness and awareness, we can learn to release these thoughts and replace them with ones that support our well-being. Buddhism teaches that thoughts are a determining factor in how we perceive and respond to the world. Negative thoughts, whether subtle feelings of guilt, anxiety, or intense hatred, can create tension and suffering in our minds. However, Buddhism also provides methods for recognizing and releasing these though. One of the key teachings in Buddhism is mindfulness. The first step in releasing negative thoughts is to recognize them. Buddhism teaches that in 4e, the next step is to practice shifting your thinking. When 4i, a powerful tool for releasing negative thoughts is meditation. Meditate. Just as you observe clouds passing across the sky, you can recognize that negative thoughts are similar to those clouds. They will pass without affecting your essential nature. This helps you maintain. In addition to replacing negative thoughts, freeing yourself from past and future obsessions is also a key part of releasing negative emotions. Buddhism teaches that suffering often comes from clinging to the past, mistakes or regrets, or worrying about the future, unseen possibilities. We cannot change the past, and the future is uncertain. Therefore, the only way to alleviate suffering is to focus on the present moment and become aware of what is happening around us right now. When you live in the present moment, you can begin to let go of negative thoughts about the past and future. Mindfulness helps you do this more easily by encouraging you to recognize everything without judgment or attachment. A famous story in Buddhism illustrates this transformation, the story of Angulimala, a notorious bandit who had killed many people. When Angulimala encountered the Buddha, he was haunted by his violent past and was searching for redemption. The Buddha taught him that no matter how terrible the past was, he could still change his future if he no longer clung to his past actions. Angulimala abandoned his criminal ways and became a monk, bringing peace to his own heart. In conclusion, releasing negative thoughts is an essential step in achieving peace of mind. Buddhism teaches that we are not our thoughts, and we can change them to create a calmer and more peaceful mind. Practicing mindfulness and meditation helps us become more aware of negative thoughts and learn to observe them without reacting. When we release negative thoughts, we create space for positive thoughts, peace, and personal growth. Reflection: releasing negative thoughts is not about ignoring them, but about creating a mindful space to observe them without attachment. When we stop identifying with our negative thoughts, we free ourselves from their power and start living more peacefully. 9. Develop a daily meditation practice. Meditation is one of the most transformative habits you can develop, especially within the context of Buddhism. It is a practice that allows you to quiet the mind, observe your thoughts without attachment, and connect with your true self. Through meditation, you learn to cultivate mindfulness, reduce stress, and create inner peace. Meditation is a foundational practice in Buddhism, and its benefits extend far beyond the cushion. When you meditate, you give yourself the opportunity to step out of the constant noise of your thoughts and the distractions of the world around you. Through meditation, you learn to focus your attention, observe your thoughts and emotions without attachment, and experience the present moment fully. Mindfulness meditation, in particular, teaches us to be present with whatever is happening in our body, mind, and surroundings. Through this practice, we develop the ability to notice our thoughts and feelings without judgment, allowing us to respond to situations with greater awareness, patience, and clarity. One of the most immediate benefits of meditation is its ability to reduce stress. In today's fast-paced world, stress is an ever-present companion for many of us. Our minds are filled with worries about the past, anxieties about the future, and distractions from the present. Meditation helps counteract this mental chaos by providing a safe space to breathe and reset. When you meditate, the body activates the relaxation response, which helps lower the levels of the stress hormone cortisol. Over time, meditation trains the mind to let go of unnecessary worries and embrace the present moment. It creates a buffer against stress and allows you to approach challenges with more calm and clarity. In Buddhist philosophy, the mind is often likened to a wild elephant, unpredictable, distracted, and hard to tame. Meditation provides the means to tame the wild elephant of the mind, creating an inner calm that enables us to approach life with equanimity. A key aspect of meditation is non-attachment to thoughts. Our thoughts often feel like they define who we are. But in Buddhism, it is taught that thoughts are impermanent. When we meditate, we begin to see our thoughts as temporary, like clouds passing through the sky. Instead of identifying with them, we learn to observe them from a distance. This practice of observing thoughts without attachment allows us to develop greater self-awareness. For example, You may notice that your mind is often filled with negative self-talk or unproductive thoughts. Meditation gives you the space to recognize these patterns and, over time, to change them. Instead of simply reacting to your thoughts, you learn to respond mindfully and with awareness. Loving kindness meditation. Another key practice in Buddhism focuses on cultivating compassion and love for yourself first and then for others. This practice involves repeating phrases such as, "May I be happy," "May I be healthy," and "May I live with ease." Gradually, these well wishes are extended to loved ones, acquaintances, and even people with whom you may have difficulties. The goal of loving kindness meditation is to soften the heart and open yourself to the interconnectedness of all beings. When we practice loving kindness, we recognize that we are all part of the same web of life. And by wishing others well, we enrich our own hearts with peace and compassion. Insight meditation, vipassana, is another powerful form of meditation in Buddhism, focusing on awareness of impermanence. This practice teaches us that everything in life is in constant flux, nothing is permanent. When we cling to things, whether they are material possessions, relationships, or even emotions, we suffer. Insight meditation helps us let go of attachment by teaching us to observe life as it is, without filters of judgment or desire. Meditation doesn't require a special space or a long period of time. Even a few minutes each day can bring profound benefits. In fact, many practitioners find that starting with short sessions and gradually increasing the time allows them to build a sustainable and consistent practice. If you're just beginning, start by sitting comfortably, closing your eyes, and focusing on your breath. When your mind begins to wander, which it will, gently bring your attention back to your breath. Each time you do this, you are strengthening your ability to focus and practice mindfulness. Over time, meditation becomes easier, and you will find that your mind is calmer and more centered. You will develop greater mental clarity, patience, and emotional resilience. With regular practice, you'll find that meditation not only improves your mental well-being but also enhances your physical health, relationships, and spiritual growth. Reflection. Meditation is not just a tool for relaxation but a profound practice that allows us to connect with our true self. It teaches us to let go of distractions, develop mindfulness, and cultivate inner peace. By incorporating meditation into your daily routine, you begin to develop a deeper understanding of yourself and the world around you. 10. Cultivate patience. Patience is one of the most powerful virtues emphasized in Buddhism. It is not just about waiting calmly for things to happen, it's the ability to remain composed and compassionate when faced with adversity, to trust in the process of life, and to understand that everything unfolds in its own time. In a world that demands immediate results and quick fixes, patience seems like a rare and undervalued trait. However, in Buddhism, patience is a cornerstone of spiritual practice, and its importance cannot be overstated. The Buddha often spoke of 3 types of patience. Patience with hardship, the ability to endure suffering or difficult situations without allowing them to disturb your peace of mind. Patience with others, learning to be tolerant and compassionate, especially when others' actions test your patience. Patience with the Dharma, accepting that spiritual growth is a lifelong journey and that results may not come immediately. Patience with hardship. Life is full of challenges, financial struggles, personal loss, relationship difficulties. In the face of such challenges, it's easy to become frustrated, angry, or disheartened. However, Buddhism teaches that instead of resisting hardship, we should embrace it with patience. Hardship is not something to be avoided, it is something to be experienced and learned from. When we practice patience with hardship, we allow ourselves to endure difficult circumstances without losing our peace or integrity. Instead of trying to escape pain, we learn to coexist with it, knowing that it too will pass. For example, consider a time when you faced a personal challenge, whether it was a job loss, a health issue, or a difficult relationship. The instinct might have been to push through it as quickly as possible or to become frustrated. But what if, instead of rushing to the end, you accepted the situation and allowed yourself to experience it fully? In doing so, you would not only find that the difficulty passed more easily, but you would also grow stronger and more compassionate as a result. Patience with others. In relationships, patience is essential for cultivating understanding, tolerance, and love. Whether with family members, friends, or colleagues, there will inevitably be moments when others test our patience. They may not understand us. They may act in ways that frustrate us, or they may disappoint us. In these moments, patience allows us to respond with compassion rather than irritation. It teaches us to step back and understand that everyone is on their own journey, shaped by their own experiences, struggles, and limitations. Instead of reacting in anger or judgment, patience encourages us to listen more deeply, to show empathy, and to choose kindness. This not only strengthens relationships but also brings a sense of peace to ourselves, knowing that we are not controlled by our reactions. Patience with the Dharma. The path to enlightenment is a lifelong journey, and it is easy to become impatient with our own spiritual progress. We might want to reach a state of peace, wisdom, or insight immediately. But the Buddha teaches us that spiritual growth takes time. Patience with the Dharma means accepting that our practice is a process, and that it is okay if results don't come right away. For example, if you're new to meditation, you may not experience the profound peace you read about in books right away. This is normal. Over time, as you continue your practice with patience, you will begin to notice subtle changes in your mind, your emotions, and your reactions to the world around you. Just like a plant needs time to grow, so too does your spiritual practice. Don't rush the process, trust that, in time, you will see the fruits of your labor. How to cultivate patience. Patience is not something we are born with, it is a quality that we can develop through practice. Here are a few ways you can cultivate patience in your everyday life. Practice mindfulness. By practicing mindfulness, you become more aware of your thoughts, emotions, and reactions. This awareness gives you the space to choose patience instead of reacting impulsively. Breathe deeply when you feel frustration or impatience rising. Pause. Take a deep breath and focus on the present moment. This simple act can help you ground yourself and shift your perspective. Shift your focus. Instead of focusing on what you want or what you lack, focus on what is happening right now. Appreciate the process rather than obsessing over the end result. Be kind to yourself. Remember that developing patience takes time. Don't beat yourself up when you feel impatient. Instead, treat yourself with the same compassion you would show to a friend. Reflection. Patience is not passive, it is an active process of learning to live in harmony with the flow of life. When you practice patience, you not only cultivate inner peace but also open the door to deeper understanding and connection with others. It allows you to face life's challenges with grace and resilience, and it nurtures your ability to live in the present moment. Call to action. I hope this video has inspired you to reflect on the transformative power of Buddhist wisdom and how simple yet profound habits can help you become a better version of yourself. If you've enjoyed this content and want to dive deeper into the teachings of Buddhism, please subscribe to The Path to Buddhist Wisdom and hit the notification bell so you won't miss out on our future videos. We are on a journey together toward greater peace, mindfulness, and understanding. Let's walk this path side by side.